Hello there, lovely people. This is me, Ashley, here, sending my love to you from whatever reality I'm in today to whatever reality you happen to find yourself in. I haven't been here very much. I've not been at my best. Thankfully, I was well enough to join Brian not so long ago on a live, which I loved. But I thought that I'd just update everybody about what's going on with me. Right. I've called this live. So what's changed? And I've put it that way because obviously every bloody thing's changed. But I want to address how it's changed for us, and not just hi Anne, hi. I want to address, not, I mean, obviously pretty much everything's changed from the geography, our bodies, all kinds of different things have changed. But I've actually called it what's changed because I want to address what's actually changed for us, the people, us that are actually affected by it and that agree that we are. Hi, call for zero. Hello, love. And by this I mean that, well, for me, this time around, because obviously I've discussed before how my reality started to change in the 80s, and then we had a big gap where nothing seemed to change, and then along with everybody else from about 2015 we suddenly realized that well, we could see things changing around us. I mean, it literally took me a good 2 or 3 years before I caught up with the fact that the things I could see changing were a real thing, and that it's called the Mandela Effect. I mean, we all hate that. Obviously, we all hate that. Hi, Mark. Nice to see you. So there's so many different things that have changed. Obviously, we've discussed those on many levels, but what we haven't discussed is how it's changed us. So I want to really update you on a few things, from the small to the quite large, and then to discuss what it actually means for us. I mean, if you've been following me and my own personal story on this channel from when I first discovered that there was a Mandela Effect thing, and what I had been experiencing is a real thing, and that reality really was changing. From that minute on, I completely lost the plot. Oh, Crunchwrap Supreme, hello. I completely and utterly lost the plot. Anybody who's followed my journey, I've been very raw about it. I don't try and hide anything, because what's the point? Reality's changing. I want to share what I'm going through with other people that are going through it. So at first, it took a good 18 months, I'll be honest, a good 18 months for me to actually settle down, because I was just totally and utterly freaked out by it. There's no two way. Enchant, hello. There was nothing I could do about it. That's the thing. I mean, when we first realized that our reality is changing, I mean, not everybody loses it like I did. I mean, I know lots of people that didn't completely lose the plot like I did, but I did. And it took a long time for me to settle down. And one of the reasons why I did settle down, oddly enough, was because of my grandson. When my grandson turned 13, he started seeing changes. And I've made videos with him that you can actually see on my channel, of us both talking about it. And one day he got upset about it, had a bit of a cry, and I found myself saying to him, the one thing you've got to remember is that it's not actually hurting us, Rylan. It's not actually hurting us. And that's the thing that I've had great comfort from myself, the fact that we are moving from world to world, reality to reality, body to body, from 1 minute to the next. We're having changes all around us all the time. It's not just logos, but obviously logos come into that equation. But it's not just logos. It's not just film. It's your own life. Buildings appearing and disappearing. All kinds of strange things happen. So I found myself saying to my grandson, but you have to remember that we're not actually being harmed by it. So that personally, me trying to calm my grandson down, actually calmed me down. That, and the fact that I was very, very, very upset by Bible changes and Bible iconography changes, that really did freak me out. And I was finding it very difficult. I was crying most days because I didn't know what God was, what he wanted me to be, which path I should be following. Everything went mad. I couldn't believe trespasses wasn't in the Lord's Prayer. That's how he actually taught us how to pray, and it wasn't in there. And I was losing it, so losing it. But I realised that it isn't hurting us. Hi, Debbie. It isn't hurting us. It's actually improving us. We seem to be being upgraded right now. And we were having upgrades. Our bodies are being upgraded. We all know that. I mean, there's so many, our heads, our faces have changed so much. The shape of our skulls changed. And how anybody can deny these things is like, it's beyond me. I don't know how anybody can deny it if they've even had any slight interest rather in anything to do with biology. And that's one of the things that I have noticed, apart from things like logo changes and scenes and lines in films that we all remember because they're ingrained in us, our long-term memory, part of who we are. We know those things in our hearts. They're our anchor memories. We know it to be true. So when we see these things changing, I personally lost the plot. I mean, thanks to you guys out there. I mean, Vanessa VA for finding me in the first place and then putting other people in contact with me. Brian, because I prayed and I was sent to him. So be careful what you pray for. But it's you guys that really helped me, because as many of you know, we can't talk to our own family and friends about these things. They get angry, they take the download. I've done lots of videos about trying to talk to members of my family when they just can't, they remember and then they don't remember, and it's all very difficult. That's all very difficult. So I started to think about the fact that I'm not being hurt by it. I'm being upgraded by it. Don't get me wrong, things still piss me off. They really do. I can't help it. I'm still pissed off by changes, but I'm not frightened of them anymore. I'm not even nearly frightened of them anymore, because for me, it's 7 years on since I first noticed changes. And yes, I have now come to terms with the fact that reality is changing around me. I see changes all the time, every day, as I'm sure most of you guys do, because we as actually affected people understand that it's on every level of our lives that we see changes. It isn't just logos and film. It's many, many, many more things. When your actual, the place where you live changes, when you have buildings appearing and disappearing. And that's another thing that has helped me to, I mean, now I'm just waiting for the next thing. What's going to change next? What's it going to be? And this is where I could kick myself, actually, because there's a motorhome out there and there's a lock on it and it's blue with black tape wrapped around it. And I was sat in the garden getting some vitamin D, and I glanced across and this thing was now yellow with black tape around it. And I thought, well, that's a bit small really to be making a video about. You know what I mean? I'm not going to really make a video and say this used to be this. It's not the same as my buildings changing in the middle of town. You know, this is just a small thing. And I thought, well, it's only a small thing. It's not worth making a video about. And then lo and behold, about 5 days ago, it only went and bloody changed back again. So I've had a flip-flop on something in my actual physical. I've seen it change to and fro, totally within my own physical everyday life. So then I'm like, oh my God, I should have actually done the video. Even the small things mean something, because you see, I've been waiting. I've seen things in my town that disappeared. They were new and then they disappeared. And I've been waiting for them to come back. I look for them to come back, these big plaques on the floor. I've been waiting for them to come back. They haven't come back. So I kind of thought, no, maybe it gets on a fixed bit and you don't get that reality ever again. The reality that the town council had decided to put these lovely big black things in the ground, I'm never going to revisit that. Well, now I might, because I've actually seen, just something in my own, in the motorhome change colour and change back again. I mean, I've also got, let me show you. I've got one of my grandson's Lego here. I mean, if you're going to talk about changes in logos, Lego for ages had 2 G's in it. 2 G's. It used to drive me insane. 2 G's in Lego. And here we are, Lego. So if any of you out there are actually still in the reality where Lego's got 2Gs, I'd like to look at there. That's Lego, just Lego, the ordinary Lego. So that's my grandson's old toy with it on, Lego with 1G. So I want you to go and have a look. What does Lego say for you? Is it 2Gs? Is it 1G? I mean, I know it's kind of nothing, but that changed at about the same time, because these, yeah, Lego, you got the 2G Lego still. You see, this is what I mean. I'm showing you that in my reality, it's still only 1G. Now, I talked to a friend of mine, actually, and this is another thing that's changed for me. One of my very old long-term friends, you know, best part of 30 years friend, she's Mandela affected, and she is. And she remembers the same things as me, quite a lot of the same things as me, which is really ironic because I know other people that are Mandela affected and they haven't got exactly the same, you know, reality and remembrance of reality as me. I've talked about how an old council building disappeared. I've made a video about it, and we were talking, and she said I walked round the corner and I couldn't believe. She swore I couldn't believe my bloody eyes. Loyalty makes us family. Hello. So this is, I've got somebody to share with now for a start. I've got somebody that actually, I mean, she couldn't believe the gold leg. I mean, in fact, at the moment, she's going absolutely crazy because we come from Cheshire, and they have the Cheshire Show every year. And this year, it's the Royal Cheshire Show. Now, it's never bloody been the Royal Cheshire Show. It's the Cheshire Show. Cheshire. Just Cheshire. So she's going mad. When did it turn into the Royal Cheshire Show? And you get the normal reaction from the non-affected. Oh, yeah, it was a couple of years ago. It was a few years ago. It was a while ago now, but they can't tell you when. You know, but it definitely wasn't like that last year, and she was freaking out about it, so at least you can talk to me. And I went, no, it never was that for me either. But we have both seen the same disappearance, the same disappeared building, which we've seen the same disappeared building sounds ridiculous, but we both know the building was there, and now there's no sign of it being there except for the steps that went down to it. They're still there for some unknown reason. So I'm able to actually talk to a friend in real life about the Mandela effect, which really helps me. Because the difference, like it's been said many times before, we know of people that are affected. Well, they see reality changes, but they're not affected by them. And this is something that I am now really curious about. What makes us affected by it and other people see and not care? Not the ones that don't see, the ones that do see changes and don't care. Hi, Will. Hi, nice to see you. So that's my point, really. But my main drive at the minute is what makes us different from those people that actually see. Not the people that don't see, not the people that are trying to debunk, none of that nonsense. The people that we know around us, that we know are having reality changes happen in front of them. We can see it. We've seen it on, I mean, thanks to Brian, he's absolutely brilliant at showing us people actually having Mandela effect moments live on air and then trying to, you know, grab it all back again. So I am interested in what makes us the affected, what makes us different to the people that aren't affected. Now, my friend, she isn't as affected by me. I mean, I see them all over the place. It drives me insane. There isn't a day goes by where something hasn't changed. It's just never ending. But then we look for them now, don't we? Because, and also, like I was trying to say before, it seems to be our interests, things that we know that are in your face. It's like the Mandela effect tries to shoving it in your face. Certainly did with me. It threw everything at me because I'd gone through 3 years seeing changes and managing to let it go over my head. So now I don't know how I did that. How could I have seen all those changes? The Ford logo, all these things were changing. And I mean, even Looney Tunes changed to Looney Tunes. And I just said, when did it change to Looney Tunes? So I know that there must be more people like me out there that are seeing changes and haven't realized it's a real thing yet. when I realized it was a real thing and that other people were going through it, obviously reality changing makes you lose your mind. So now that, and another thing, the minute that we do that, the minute we realize that some shit's going down, some real big shit, and that life is not what we were told it was, we research like completely crazy people. We research everything. Now, I don't think it's anything to do with CERN. I think it's spiritual. I think it's already happened before. I'm not saying that the powers of darkness aren't messing with CERN. I think that's very possible. But one thing that none of us ever really say, I think it's this. Now, at the beginning, we all came up with our ideas. We all went, oh, yeah, I think it's CERN. Oh, it must be D-Wave. I've been through that. Because as you start to research, you get into deep things that you suddenly get really, really into, things that you'd never even thought of looking at before, because you're that desperate to find out what the bloody hell's going on. You have this need to know, what is it? Why? Where's it leading us? Now, that's the first thing we do, is we go crazy with research, trying to work out what it is. And after all, I mean, I literally thought that 12 months later, after having found out that reality really is changing, that somehow I would have cracked the case. Year on, we've cracked the case. I've done my research, you've done your research, we've shared it with each other, and we've cracked the case. No. And most of us, well, first of all, one of the main things is we don't believe in the Mandela effect. It happens to us. We don't believe in it. We haven't looked up at somebody and gone, oh, I want to believe in that. I want to join in with that. I didn't. The last thing I wanted was any of this to be happening to me. I really, really struggled with it. So I don't believe in the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect is reality changing, and it really is changing. I don't believe in it. I can bloody well see it in front of my eyes every day. It's not a misremembering. It's none of those ridiculous things that they accuse us of being. We're not misremembering. It's anchor memories, things that really matter to us, things that matter, heartfelt. That's why we notice. And like I said, the Mandela effect started throwing everything it could at me until I eventually took notice of it and found out that there was a beautiful group of people out there who, incidentally, we learned so much from. When I first came to the Mandela effect, talking to other Mandela affected people, that's what I'd set this channel up for. It's called Reality Sliders, Mandela affected, not Hi, I'm Ash. It's about us. I was reaching out to anybody who was a reality slider, anybody else going through the same thing that I was, or something similar. One of the first things I found out is that quite a lot of people came from Sagittarius, whereas I come from Orion, but not this Orion. This Orion's not my Orion. And that Sagittarius and my Orion were very similar, but we learned we came from different places. Now, I find it difficult to believe that some people that are Mandela affected still don't realise that we all come from completely different parts of the universe. Well, our Milky Way, anyway. If you talk to people where they come from, it's different parts of the Milky Way. But we share very, very similar, well, massively similar histories. Up to a certain point, we seem to have shared most of history normally together. And then we get to a point where it seems to have, like, Voynich, my love, mwah. It seems to have come to a point where, well, by us talking to each other, we learned many different things. We learned that we aren't all having the same reality changes at the same time. What is your forever reality is my new reality, and what is my forever reality could very well be your new reality. But we're all fluctuating between. We don't have changes at exactly the same time, and those changes aren't the same changes. So we learned these things from each other. And that's also part of our research, because you lot all went to research, I researched, and we all come together and we all discuss, like on the live chat. And, it's like, yeah, it's not misremembrance, Will. You're exactly right. I mean, I can no longer watch The Wizard of Oz or Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, because those films are nothing like they were. Not just the fact that like the Tin Man's got a bloody gun. Sorry, the Scarecrow's got a gun and all that shit. Not just that, the actual films are that wrong, I can't bear to watch them. And these are films that I've watched since I was a child. I held them in my heart. It used to annoy me. See, inside, I might be 57, but inside I'm only 7. So, I used to make my family watch these films. So it robs us of things. It's robbed us. The Mandela effect has robbed us of so very much. the things that matter to us, the things that are anchor memories, ingrained, things we shared with our families, that our families no longer remember. There's always gun, wrench, and a bug spray, yeah, and a net as well. So it's like there's that's in a film, and I can't watch it anymore. That's my childhood, lovely childhood reality gone, gone completely. So we find it difficult dealing with those sort of things. Obviously, I mean, anybody who doesn't, I don't understand how you can see reality changing but not care. My husband is a case in point, really. He does see changes. I still can't talk to him properly about it, and because obviously he actually says to me that, well, you know, there's nothing we can do about it, so what the fuck. Now, he didn't used to see anything. He used to take all the downloads, constantly taking the downloads. That's not happening so much anymore with him. I still can't talk to him about all the different things that I see that have changed, but we've watched a program together where the two princes in the tower. I mean, I'm quite sure a lot of you know about, I'm not expecting everybody to understand about British history, but there were two princes that were lost. They were put in the tower by, King Richard III, so that he could become king. One of these princes should have become king. King Richard III had them locked in the Tower of London, and they were never seen again. Now, must be knocking on a year ago now, I remember talking to my husband about this case, because I'd seen online that there was a case where they knew the history had changed. The history had changed, and I was now reading that the two boys were found by Charles II when he was brought back to be king, after us lopping off his dad's head. They brought Charles II in, and he had them buried in Westminster Abbey. Right, he had them buried in Westminster Abbey. Now, I lost the plot. Of that history change because it matters to me. You know, it's something I very much know. The princes were never found. Blah, 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 blah. Never found. Suddenly, they've been found. And they were found 500 years ago. Well, 400 years ago. You're like, what? What? They're in, really? So I was talking to my husband about, I thought, I can't not mention that. And he said, nah, they were never found. I said, oh, they were. Oh, that's just on the internet. And that pisses me off so much. I hate that. Oh, that's just on the internet. Like, everything on the internet is not to be trusted. Now, most of us, we go to completely trusted sites. We know, you know, not just, don't get me wrong, we listen to each other, but on a if we're going to look at something that we think is factual, we go and look at the best place to find that information. We don't just listen to just anybody. We go and research thoroughly and as much information as we possibly can get. So here we are. We're at a place now where we can honestly say that, I mean, we all know we are not being harmed. We are moving through different realities. That is a fact. There is something different between us and our loved ones and the other people that see reality but aren't affected by it. Because at the time when I was telling my husband this, he poo-pooed it. It was just the internet. He wouldn't have anything to do with it. I explained that even the woman who dug up King Richard III, even she was investigating it, because, and then there was another bit where it had already been found, and he wouldn't have any of it. So anyway, about 2 weeks ago, we were watching Lucy Worsley, she's called, a little lovely, very clever English woman who does history programs brilliantly, Lucy Worsley. We both watch her, and it was about the princes in the tower. So obviously we watched it, and all the way through was fine, totally fine, all the way through. All the story was normal, everything was fine until the last 10 minutes. And as soon as they showed the actual memorial, the grave of the two princes in Westminster Abbey, I couldn't cope. And I got up and I walked off, because seeing that's just too much for me. It's just too much. It was never there. It was never there, and now it's been there for the best part of 500 years. What? I couldn't cope anyway. I walked off. My husband said, "No, Ash, this is the bit that you want to watch. It's about the DNA. Is it really them?" And I came back in and I went, "No, Steve, it's not about this is not about the DNA. I don't give a shit about the DNA because they should never be there. They were never there in my reality. They were never found." And I walked away again. And we ended up watching the end of it, and I calmed myself down, even though nothing further was said till the day after. And my husband said, you know the princes, Ash? And I said, yeah. He said, I don't remember it that way. I don't remember them having found them. That's not how I remember them. And I'm like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, God. Because I know fine well that he should know that the princes were never found. So his initial reaction was one of a bit of, oh God, she's talking about the Mandela effect again. But the day after, he admitted it. He admitted that isn't the reality he remembers. He remembers the boys never being found. Never being found for for the best part of 800 years. And suddenly here we are. But I'm now at a point where, thankfully, my husband does know that things are changing. He just doesn't want to talk about it because he can't do anything about it. So therefore, what does it matter? Well, to me, being affected, you understand this because you're affected, which means that it's part of your being. It's changed who we are. I am not the same. I am the same Ashley. All my core values, everything is still me. The core me travels from different body through different realities. That's a given. We understand that as actual affected people. We understand that, which is why we need each other, because to actually say that to somebody who doesn't get it, they're not going to get it, are they? Do you know? We just sound like crazy people. But I'm talking to you guys because, no, I don't try and convince anybody anymore. I give Brian a lot of credit because he is still trying to wake people up, but he's trying to wake people up that should already be awake. And so, he's not like having a go at the general public, is he? He's actually trying to show people who have quite clearly Mandela affected by their different things that they're talking about and the words that they say. He catches them out all the time. So those people, especially the ones that declare that the Mandela effect isn't real, those people, that's who he goes for. He doesn't just go to some general bod in the street who hasn't woken up to it yet and give them shit. He doesn't do that. If he goes out onto the street, he asks questions, and he doesn't do any leading questions. He just asks the question. So he only pushes the point with people that should know better. And in fact, people that do know better, that actually know better, would rather put their own self-importance and their own self-need before what is actually going on. Because it doesn't only alter their whole paradigm, it stops where they're at now. And they can't they can't go back on what they've said. And it would, in fact, one of them has actually admitted that he wouldn't be able to do what he does anymore because it would have blown it all out the water. So we'd rather lie to other people about the Mandela effect than actually come out and say, well, yeah, I've seen some changes myself. It's a bit fucking weird, isn't it? You see, I don't mind that. That's fine. But actually, Brian tries to convince people like that who already know, but it's their own ego. It's their own ego more than anything. Their own position, their own ego that stops that. And I think that that's something that we lot don't really have so much of, is ego. We don't really give a shit about ego because fucking reality's changing. Where's having an ego going to get you? Do you know what I mean? Whatever this is, nobody knows. Not anybody in our community, whether we talk to each other or not, because the Mandela effect community is in little pockets and segments, isn't it? We're not one great big family. We're not all on one WhatsApp group. Don't work like that. But when we reach out and we find each other, wherever we are, we have a connection that is beyond anything that I've ever felt before. It's because we understand each other. We understand each other at a very, very basic level. The fact that reality is changing puts everything else, nothing else really matters after that. Do you know what I mean? nothing else really matters. You can't get bigger than reality changing. So we need each other, and that's why I reach out to you guys all the time. You've kept me sane. You've made me sane, thankfully, to being this person that is standing in front of you today, rather than the crying, desperate despair. And I wasn't like that because I believed in the Mandela effect. I was like that because I could see things changing in my physical reality. And that happens to many, many people, many of us. So it's, it's now where am I now? Where am I now then? Well, I think now I'm just interested. I'm waiting for the next bit. I'm looking forward to finding out what changes next. To be fair, over the last 7 years since this new cycle of change has started to happen, it's going on a bit, isn't it? I would have thought that we'd know what was going on by now, you see, and that we're all waiting to find out what it is, aren't we? That's what it is now. We're just all waiting to find out what's the crack? What's this for? Why is it happening? Do you know, we know we can't work out why. I mean, we do. I do know a vast majority of us from no religion and all religions believe that it's a spiritual situation, because how can things like holy words in your own Bible at home change? I mean, it's got to be a supernatural, spiritual thing as far as I'm concerned, especially understanding. Oh, no, Voynich, you're absolutely right. That person there, he actually did say that he isn't going to accept it, because it would mean that he wouldn't be able to do what he does anymore and have all these lovely supporters anymore. So it's all about the personal ego, which we don't have. We don't have a personal ego. Most of us, I'm not saying, I mean, we're all arseholes. We can all be arseholes. We're not saying that. But we're very open-minded. We don't all believe in the same thing. None of us claim to know, and I say believe, we don't believe anything. It's just happening to us. And we don't know why. And that's basically, I think, what, well, Michael, I am, because he used me, love. That's why and I haven't actually mentioned his name. I haven't actually mentioned that person's name, but I'm perfectly allowed to talk about him because he used me. I'm just talking now about the denial of different people, but I'm personally allowed to talk about him as much as I like because he used me. He used me crying, so I can say what I bloody well like about him. Anyway, I've calmed down now. I've tried not to talk about exactly who it is because it's ridiculous, but that's what I'm talking about. That's a person who sees and whose ego's getting in the way. And in general, you find that it's like you've got three different sorts of people. You've got deniers who see, who clearly see, and who lead their own, people around them astray. You've got people who see it and are madly, madly affected. Madly, madly affected. Michael, I really don't understand what your point is there. I don't. Anyway, you're putting me off. I'm not even going to answer that because I don't even know what that means. So you've got us massively affected people, and then you've got people that see it that can't do anything about it. So it doesn't mean anything and they can get on with their lives. And then you get people that are the debunkers who try very hard to debunk something that you can't. You can't debunk reality changing. It's changing. And even if they see it, they will. I've seen so many times people that see it, deniers that see it, who just argue the toss. They've actually, I've seen pastors correct their own Bible while they're reading it. You know what I mean? So it's absolutely ridiculous what lengths the deniers go to, but it's not them that I'm interested in. What I'm actually interested in is what makes the affected more than other people who see it happening and either don't give a shit or try and poo-poo it. What is it that makes us not be able to go a single day without one, seeing a change, and two, we're trying to live ordinary lives in the middle of a forever changing reality. So I've got past being scared now in chant. I've got past being scared because, like I said, it's the fact that it's not hurting us. Thus far, we've gone through 7 years of our bodies changing, the globe, I've said it again, the globe. I'm sorry, I'm now a flat earther because of Mandela Effect, actually, which is another reason that pisses me off. Flat earthers that will not have will not open their eyes. You know what I mean? It was because of the Mandela effect that I am now a flat earther. You know, it's like, what makes you think about things in a different way? You have your eyes open so much when you're Mandela affected, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe we are more eyes open. Maybe that's all it is, because I don't think that we're anything special. I don't think I'm special. I mean, you guys are special to me, but there's nothing about us that makes us like, ah, you know, this, I can't see us all, you know, we're not all saints walking about being the chosen ones. That's what I don't get. What is it about us that makes us affected by it, where other people can deny it, even though they see it, and other people who just go, what does it matter? You know, it's that's what I want to really concentrate on now. What do you guys think? What do you guys think the difference is between us who are affected by it and those who see, but I mean, there are plenty out there that don't see, or if they do see, they're a bit like me for the first few years when I saw, but it all went over my head. I mean, I literally cannot get my head round how I ignored it for so long. It was only when it was actual things I could not ignore anymore, like the and actually my friend Dawn, who is affected, she said that, you know, the creation of Adam, it was like that, and now it's like this. You know, so it's things like that that made me see this is it. Fuck me, this is real. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and lost the plot for about 18 months. So now, 7 years on, we're no wiser. We're no wiser as to what the hell this is. I don't get. I'm no nearer understanding what the point of this is and what part we have to play, if any, and why we see and other people don't, why we feel it so strongly and other people don't, why people see it and deny it. Why? What? We're still all desperately, desperately trying to get to the point. We're trying to get to the point. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. Call for zero. That's it. Yeah, ego and all. Oh, yeah. Ego, group thinkers. Yeah, something to do with those factors. Yeah, I think you're right there. Yeah, and Call for Zero was just saying he knows a guy who clearly sees it and rejected it because it doesn't go in with his life plan. Yeah, which is what I've seen other people do online themselves. So it's so the thing is, I mean, that's my main thing now is what's going to happen next. What is going to happen next? We're still going through weird changes, small ones, big ones, you know, whatever. But it's like, oh, Mark, hi Mark. Yield sign's always yellow for me. 3 months ago said they changed to red in 1991, and now they changed to red in 1971. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff, Mark. Exactly, things in your own actual face, right there in your face. No false memories, nothing to see here. Move along, move along. You see, at first we needed each other. I think mainly because we couldn't talk to our loved ones about it. We had, you know, for me, for many of these 7 years, it's been a hard slog. It was difficult. I only had you guys. And even now, to be honest, even though my friend is Mandela affected and she sees the changes, she's not quite as affected by me. I need you. I need to talk to you guys. I need that fellowship, that sense of other people belonging to something. Not feeling that you're on your own with this was the most awful thing. And we all went through that for many years, didn't we, where we were like literally going through things changing in our actual here, and our family members not wanting to talk about it, getting angry about it. We felt so alone, so very alone. We can see reality changing in front of us, and we were all little islands on our own, not knowing what to do. So thank God we now have each other. Hi James, hi. Yeah. Yeah, Brian did that to me as well, really. He I actually prayed. I'd been seeing things, adverts for the Mandela Effect for ages, and I thought, I'm not really interested in mandalas, so I didn't do anything. Anyway, one day I'd had enough and I'd prayed, and I think it was probably the day after, a couple of days after I'd prayed, I just pressed it, and there's Brian. So I prayed, sent me to Brian. That really showed me that, oh my God, this is too much for me. This is real. This is real. I'm phoning up relatives. Oh my God. Oh my God. She hasn't got any braces on. Who? Dolly. Dolly hasn't got braces on. Oh my God. And I lost it. I lost the plot completely. Completely. So Brian actually has been playing old clips of Vanessa's when she found people with um, their first coming out, so to speak. I did one of them. She found me. There's no need for you to watch it. You've watched me cry more than enough. But it was that desperation, sitting down in. It was a good few months after I found Brian and the community that I made my first video and made this channel. But I got that desperate. I thought there's got to, I know there's other people out there now. I know there are, because I've been chatting to people on Brian's lives and things like that. So I was getting to know you guys. So, and I just thought, right, you're going to have to make your own. I need to get this out. I had to make my channel because I couldn't keep it in. I couldn't keep it in. I needed to get it out. And I was hoping that out there you'd find me. And thank God you did. Thank God you guys found me, because now I know I'm not alone. We may never actually meet. I'm hoping that one day we get to a point where this reality changes so that we can. Maybe, we're in a waiting room somewhere in the ether and we all get to meet each other. That would be brilliant, because here where we are, whatever it is that we're we can't. We're not going to ever really meet each other. And I long to just put my arms around your walls. You know what I mean? You have become part of my anchor memories. I remember making a video about that, how it suddenly, because memories are the anchor to our soul. And now you guys have become part of my forever, however long this is for. I totally, and most of us, I think, now understand that if we can go through reality to reality and indeed body to body, we're not in the same body. If we can do that, we can transcend anything, can't we? Do you know? I think it's kind of it kind of lets me know that I'm not ever going to die. This meat suit, this body, this thing that keeps changing, that's just for here. I think for most of us, it kind of backed up, or in fact invigorated the spiritual side of us. I think has really been. I mean, I've been spiritual. I'm very scientific, as I think most guys, most of you out there have been. You've not just been totally away with the fairies, or you've not, you've always, from what I can see, you've had the things that you've been interested in have been important things. That's what I'm trying to say. Your interest may not have fitted in with an awful lot of the people that were around you anyway, before we realised reality changed. And that it's those sort of interests in myself that has made me see quite clearly that reality has changed. It has changed. There is just no getting away from the fact that it's changed. And I know one day, well, I say I know, I don't actually know at all, because like I've just said, we've gone through 7 years and nothing's changed really, has it? By which I mean, we're still in the same position. Lots of things might have changed around us, but in effect, nothing has changed, because we're still none the wiser. We still don't know what it is. We're still looking for the answers. And most of us, I think, now are wait. I mean, I can't. Well, yeah, maybe I am eagerly awaiting. I want to know what it is. I want to know. And it's as simple as that. I'm not frightened of it anymore. And I'm not frightened of it anymore because it isn't hurting us. It isn't hurting us. It's you can see dark forces all round, all over the world. The reality that we're living through anyway. We can see how disturbing that is, and how the forces of evil have got complete control over that. We can see that. But the I'll say planet that we're on is changing. There are animals that are changing. We've got In the past, we used to have flowers that would mimic the insect that it wanted to land on it. Now we've got bloody plants that have got skulls, heads, or they look like little ballet dancers, or their lips. I mean, these are wild, crazy shit things. We've got mountains that are rainbow mountains now. We never had rainbow mountains. We've got pyramids all over the world. The actual pyramids change orientation. We've got we've actually got rainbow trees with this blue bananas. We've got all kinds of different amazing and that's another thing. One of the reasons why I'm better about my physical surroundings. At first, I just didn't belong here. I didn't like it. I didn't like it's a nice day, but it's not my sun because the sun isn't yellow anymore. Actually, somebody put a poll on YouTube channel the other day about who remembers the yellow sun, and loads of people were, thank God you've said that. Thank God you've said that. We've noticed it changed. And in my time, before 2009, you couldn't see the sun and the moon in the sky at the same time. The moon is now in the daylight sky, willy fucking nilly. Do you know what I mean? So hello at the Panhandle from Cheshire. Hi, B Collier. It's very formal. So yeah, so much has changed, and for the better. Now, in the, like, we know it says in the Bible there's a new world coming. It says in every single and indigenous peoples and their legends about a new earth, another earth coming. We had the Mayans talking about a new sun. We've got a fucking new sun. It's white. So if we put all of the things that we have learned from our ancestors, from their legends, and from what's actually happening now, that's what has brought me to the place where I'm at now. I can now appreciate nature again, because at first it wasn't my nature. That tree isn't even I've got a tree outside in a pot that I got with my mum when it was a tiny thin branch from Woolworths many, 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 many years ago, well over 30. I've got it outside. I'm now aware that is not the fucking tree I bought with my mum. It's not. I'm not the same me, and she wouldn't have been the same her. So it's like we know all those really weird shit things go down, but now I'm waiting to find out, because now I've got to the place where it's creation. I made a video about how I was doing a live, and somebody came on and went, "Oh yeah, I bet you're one of them stupid religious people who thinks that evolution shit." And I went, "No, actually, I believe in evolution, right? What the hell do you think you're doing? Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't just play guesswork. And if you're going to insult me, try and think something to insult me for." No, I believe in evolution. And then I got off the live, and I thought about it, and I thought, I don't believe in evolution, because I have literally seen creation happen from one day to the next. I've seen things just appear. I've seen miraculous, beautiful things just appear on this new earth that we're now a part of. Sometimes I think it's like a mirror opposite version. Sometimes I think that it's trying to right itself, because we get flip-flops, like the thing I was talking about in the motorhome. The actual guard to stop the steering wheel moving was blue and black, then it went to yellow and black, now it's back to blue and black. But it's got me in a different place, because I now know that I do not believe in evolution, because I'm watching the world being created in front of my very eyes. And quite frankly, that is an honoured position to be in. How amazing is that we are getting to see creation? We're getting to see creation happening in front of us. And that's why it's not, I know it changes all the time, but it's obviously changing to a certain point. This new world is, well, we're already in it. Well, passing through it. I don't know. We don't know. Is it all timelines merging? Is it all realities merging? But we can see a new world being created. We're not even on the world we were on before. We're not even on it. Like, that's completely like that is where South America used to be, directly underneath North America. Now it's all the way over here somewhere. It's nearly knocking on Europe's door. It's that far to the east now. So we know we're on a different plane, world, whatever it is. It's different. The geography looks completely different. Our bodies are different. There's so much going on in this new place that it's a bit difficult to understand how anybody can not notice. How anybody can not notice. I'm sat watching the weather and the top of Scotland's come off and nobody sees it. Nobody sees it. Somebody on Brian's premiere last night, there was somebody saying that Manchester had moved, and because somebody was going from Manchester to Leeds, and I know Manchester's moved. It's above Liverpool now. It never used to be. It used to be below Liverpool. So, you know, seeing these things and having people around you not actually see them or acknowledge them in any way is really difficult. It still is. Watching reality change when you literally nobody around you seeing it, or if they do see it, they're not talking about it. You know, it's very, very difficult, and they still piss me off. It still pisses me off when I see changes. I can't say it doesn't, because it does, because it's robbing me of my reality of things that are precious to me. But I'm nowhere near as bad as I used to be. Yeah, I know, Ireland, Scotland, Ireland, all completely different. And in fact, Britain's got so many little islands dotted around it now. It's unreal. It's unreal. There's so many changes. It's very difficult to understand how anybody can not see them. You know, how can you not tell? How can you not see? I get that some people might be like I was at first and not realise that people haven't changed them. It's always been this way. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm annoyed by dilemma. I mean, dilemma. Pneumonia. When I was a child, I used to, difficult words, I would say it as it's spelled, as it looks, and then I'd know, like pneumonia. It's not pronounced pneumonia, but I knew had a P in the front of it. So that, and dilemma. I know it's called dilemma, but it's spelled dilemma. So that's how I learned my spelling. So piss off with it's always been dilemma. And it's a word that keeps showing up on the TV at the minute, dilemma. And I'm like, spell it properly. and oddly enough, turmeric. Turmeric is one I can't cope with. I can't cope with it being turmeric. That pisses me off. I can't see it without getting annoyed by it. There are some that do that to me still, but ultimately we have moved to a different earth. That earth hasn't finished changing yet. And we're not hurt by it anymore. Yeah, we are shrinking, bit of venom. Absolutely, we're shrinking. Yeah. I'm just sorry, I'm going back up here a minute. No, I haven't had a near-death experience, Mark, but I do know an awful lot of people have. Like I said, my first actual changes were in the early 80s when I was 15, 16. That's when my first changes were. It left me confused for many years. Now I know why. Now I know why. And I do know people who have had changes in the 60s. So this change, this age of Aquarius, whatever it is you want to call it, this thing is a real thing, and it's happening in front of our very eyes, and it's actually speeding up. It goes through speeding up changes. And then you get flip-flops, and things have flip-flopped here recently, like Lego's gone back to 1G again. So, yeah, I'm going to show you guys that again. Look. Here's the Lego. Lego. 1G. Yeah, it's been 2Gs. And I know for quite a lot of you, it's still 2Gs. But there's my grandson's Lego with 1G. 1G. See, Lego with 2Gs. The Addams family with 2Ds. What the picking hell's that about? Yeah, somebody said earlier on that things that were plural are now singular, and things that were singular are now plural, and that's very much the way it is. That, you know, I've seen a lot of that going on. Rupert the Bear is not called Rupert the Bear anymore. Oh, and another thing, Jack Jones. Jack Jones was a clothing name, a named clothing, and I'd see people with like t-shirts on with Jack Jones. It's Jack and Jones now. Jack and Jones. What the fuck? What the fuck? The North Face. It used to be North Face. The North Face. Jack and Jones. And yet Rupert, they still sing Rupert, Rupert the Bear, but it's only Rupert Bear now. So it's like, whoa. You see, no, I understand. B. Collie is just saying, I don't believe my family is my real family. It's not them. I get you. I totally get you, B, I'm going to call you B. I totally get you there, B. It took me a long time to come to terms with that. But I come to the terms with the fact that from the time I was 16, things have changed for me. So I've understood that my parents haven't always been the parents that I was born to. You can go down this loads, and like I said to my grandson, the way I get round this is that my family, I've got grandchildren. My family, my grandchildren are my grandchildren. And I said to Rylan, no matter what else is going on, you are still you. I am still me. We still love each other. That's all that we need to think about, because we've seen our own family members change personalities like that. We've seen friends change personalities like that. In the blink of an eye, they become somebody totally different. And that happened quite a lot to me before I even realised that the Mandela Effect was a thing and it was actually happening. I couldn't really work out why people would suddenly be behaving differently, and not, in some cases, being the complete opposite to the person that they were in the first place. So, yeah, well, I don't understand how we can see the craters of the moon when it's supposed to be 250,000 miles away. How can we see that? No, anyway, I don't want to get down that. We know for a fact that I mean, it says in the Bible to look for the differences in the stars and in the sky, and we've got a white sun. We've got a much smaller sky than we had. Much. It's the horizon between horizons now is so small, it's unreal. So we know that things are Peter Townsend, yeah, or there is so many, and people say, oh, it's just name changes. I don't care if it was Osteen or Oldstein. Well, there's something wrong with you then, isn't there? There's something bloody wrong then. If you don't give a shit that his name has changed because reality's changed, then that's down to you, love. But give your head a wobble. You can't say that doesn't matter. Of course it matters. Reality's changed. Unreal. So yeah, so I'm in a much better place. I mean, a lot of it's down to you guys. Thank you again. I always thank you guys so much. You've helped me more than I could ever thank you for. You've given me an understanding of things. It's by coming together and working out, each other's, swapping stories. We've been very, very personal with each other, and I'm very grateful for that. You've shared some amazing things with me. Your personal life, as well as your changing life, as well as your Mandela affected life, which, as I keep saying, we all bloody hate, but that's what it's called. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen to the Who since the 70s. Yeah, we know our history. We know our anchor memories. We know them. That's what they're called, anchor memories. They've been there forever. We've sung those songs a million times. We've watched films. We've walked past buildings. Brian's whole town changed its name. So it's not about, for me, it's about the fact that we don't, I think as reality sliders, we cling to each other because we need that fellowship and that understanding of each other, being with people that understand and don't question. We've got past oh no, that was never a Mandela effect. We now understand that was always in your reality, but it might not have been mine, or it might have always been in my reality, but it might not have always been yours. We get that now, we understand that, and that really helps. Talking to each other really helps. And so that for me makes me think about other things like what happens next, and that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to find out what happens next. I am on tenterhooks about what happens next. And please let it be sooner. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't go as far as to say I actually want to die. But I woke up in bed a few weeks ago, and the first thing I said was, oh my God, I'm still here. Because the world that we're living in at the moment is absolutely fucked. We've got bad things coming. We have got bad things coming. So, we've got all that going on that we're trying to live through, and then our reality's changing as well. It's very difficult. You've got to, without the grounding of you guys, we'd all lose our heads, we'd all lose our marbles if we were just dealing with it on our own and didn't have each other or the outlet of talking. You know, if we had to just keep it all inside and we're just listening to ourselves and our own worries, we'd be in a right mess, wouldn't we? But thankfully, we share with each other. And I won't, I don't give a shit who uses me and my raw emotion for whatever reason. It says more about them than it does about me. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just sharing my experiences and letting it out raw. If I waited until I looked glamorous, you'd never see me. If I waited until I felt right about talking about something, you'd never see me. You see me when I'm feeling it. You see whatever it is I'm feeling. So at first I was just feeling terrified all the time. So I'm not there now. I'm really not there now. I'm in a much better, happier place thanks to you guys. I really can't thank you enough for that. I hope one day we do get to meet each other. You guys in America that get to meet up willy-nilly, I really am envious of that. I'm really envious of that. You're my family in far flung places. And last night we learned that there are people in Kenya and in Belgium that are Mandela affected. So we do know it's worldwide, and we do know it cuts across all religions. It's not a Christian thing, but it is a prophesied thing. It has been prophesied, and even the Mayans talk about the end of the world, the end of this world, and Jesus coming back, quite frankly. But it being affected crosses all religions, all continents, all creed, all colours, and we are family. We are family. Now, I even send out love to the people that try and disrespect me by using me as a like a weapon. They use my crying when I was really upset. Now, that says, you know, that sort of person, that isn't what we do. We would never ever use somebody's hurt to further our own popularity. And unfortunately, that's what people seem to have been doing recently. So yeah, it's I'm really, yeah, even the Soviet flag shifted. Yes, absolutely, Capalicious. Nice to actually see you. It was nice to speak to you a bit yesterday on Brian's Live as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm going to leave it here. I've been waffling on for over an hour now, so I'm going to leave it here for now, but I will be back soon, and I want to do a little round robin thing. We do well at that. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to come on, and I will try and shut up. But I'm sorry. I mean, I'll say it again. Anybody that watches me live when I'm trying to share a screen with other people, I am so sorry. But I just spent the best part of 2 years on my own in lockdown, and I never get to talk about the Mandela effect. So I can jump in when I'm not supposed to be. So I apologise to anybody that I've jumped over, trying very hard to sort that one out. So until next time, my lovely guys, my love to you all, as always.